Hey, call me Shape, and today we're reacting to a video titled Why Society Has Failed Gen Z. Let's get right into it.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. A big topic today that you see a lot of people making content on is why Gen Z can't seem to grow up. Why are they kind of stuck in this infantile mentality, or underdeveloped, maybe is a more accurate term? Why aren't they able to handle conflict in the workplace? Why are they having difficulties in life? Why are they not embracing relationships? And all of these dynamics you see kind of playing themselves out. Now, I have the unique experience of interacting with a lot of Gen Zers that are in their, early to almost late 20s. But what I'm observing, I don't think really pertains only to them. I think it has broader cultural implications of how people in our society are being developed and what they're building their life and basing it on. And so, one of the things that I would say is probably the kind of pinnacle of all the problems that are happening right now, that are kind of the trickle down effect that's happening in people's psyches, relationships, workplace, and everything else, is just the idea of fantasy. I grew up in the 80s, and in the 80s we had very fanciful, movies and entertainments, and this kind of pervasive notion that you were going to realize one day that you had some super trait or some superpower, that you were going to change the world or move things. And what's wild is that kind of immersive mentality has become even more pronounced now with this younger generation, because of the fact that their entertainment saturation has completely shaped how they see the world. And so you see it like how they see intimacy. Well, what's that based on? It's based on a bunch of horrific content that they began consuming when they were young on the internet, which is not even intimacy at all. It's not even how two people should interact or treat each other. It has nothing to do with the nobility of a person. It has nothing to do with love and caring and kindness and sacrificialness or any of that. It's based and bestial. It puts the person as kind of an aggressor and almost an aggressor-victim relationship. It has nothing to do with equality and love. What else do we see? We see the culture of anime that's like super pervasive in the Gen Z, where they're taking these kind of plot lines in Gen Z that they're recycling over and over again. Like the person is bullied, then they go on a montage, then they come back and they're more powerful and they're able to defeat their enemies or whatever else. And they kind of create this narrative where like the person in life is perpetually the victim until they go undergo some kind of transformation and, experience kind of rebirth and success and all these other things. And then, what about education and hard work? Education today is taught in such a manner that the student is really seen as being the focal point of the learning experience instead of the information, right? And so colleges are all about creating an environment where people can express themselves and find themselves and do all these other things that have nothing to do with actually learning the history of the world or culture or the things that have shaped it, or how you can positively impact and change culture in a meaningful way. Everything is subversive and has a Marxist underpinning. And so what you find is, especially with the Gen Z, they're very much weighed down in this mental state where there's like a detachment from reality.
I think that was well said. Jesus, wow. Whoever thought, right? We're living in this fantasy land. Um, it's impressive, right? That we were able to pull the wool over people's eyes for so long. And I think I think an expression that best defines in the times that we're in is that we're like sheeps seeking a wolf's counsel, right? We're going to the enemy for advice. And people need to be more suspicious of the media, right? They need to be more suspicious of social media. They need to be more suspicious of the propaganda online. We just readily accept everything. Pronouns, this, that. We just accept everything, you know? And then, this is very new. When I was growing up, it was nothing like this. It was more based on reality. Now it's like, you're right. The kid is this focal point of the learning experience. And it's not about the lessons. It's not about education. It's about making people feel better. Ain't that a fantasy?
They're not used to experiencing long form conversation without a cell phone, where there's no cell phone present, where you go to a dinner and you have, 8 to 10 friends and nobody is on their phones and everyone is experienced and engaged. People are actually reading up on the topics that they're talking about, and there's deep interpersonal connection that's happening. Now, people are communicating really trivial and kind of and benign conversations through text messages, and it's emotional and kind of passion filled and aggressive, but it's not face to face. It's not normal, and people are not looking into the face of the other person. They're not experiencing real intimacy. In fact, I read an article a couple of years ago that said young men were engaging women less than ever before because they found that women were just not like good internet content. A real woman is a human being with emotions and thoughts and personality and wonderful attributes and shortcomings and everything else, but it's a real person. But we become so pervasive in kind of this consumeristic culture where we're used to consuming people. And so when I talk to young people about who they should marry and how they should make the decision for marriage, many times they're just completely detached from this idea that they're going to marry an imperfect person, that they're going to have to shape their life around accommodating and working with that person, just like the other person's going to have to accommodate them. They're constantly looking for the perfect or the better.
That is such a true point. I see it now. I mean, I would meet girls, and I meet a lot of girls online. I had a lot of success. If you watch my other videos, I talk about it. I have over 400 matches on Hinge, and from what I heard, this is not common, right? This is very rare. So you could consider myself pretty fortunate, pretty lucky. But even when I meet a girl, and I'm talking about, I'll meet an average girl, and let's say we have a conversation and we get along really well, and we disagree on one thing. She's like, oh, no. I can't be with someone that crosses my boundaries and everything. In my mind, I'm like, I have a difference of opinion. And so what do you expect? To find someone that you're attracted to, that's polite to you, that's kind to you, that respects you, similar in age, that doesn't have kids just like you do, but also agrees and thinks just like you? And what we disagreed on was I didn't want her to share with me about her sexual experiences. I didn't want to hear about her past. She wanted to talk openly about how she had one night stands and did this and did that. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I don't really want to know. Personally, I don't really ask girls what's their body count. I don't want to know. And they might not tell me the truth anyway. But that was the sticking point that we had. And she's like, oh no, I want to be with someone that I could talk about anything with. And I'm like, have you ever been with someone like that? Have you ever been with a good guy? She said she's never been with a great man before. She's been in several relationships, never been with a great man. But here she is. She likes things about me more than her exes, right? Because they were irresponsible and they didn't pay bills and she had to take care of them, blah, blah. But she dated them for years. Here comes me. I got one flaw, let's say, per se, that she could see. And it's, oh, no, not perfect enough. This is a real thing. So he's spin facts. Let's let him cook.
Settling. These kind of absurd ideas of human dynamics that are divorced from reality. And in the face of all this, when you turn to culture, you realize culture doesn't have a solution for this. They don't offer you anything. So it's like if you get burned out and you get shaped by this, and let's say, a young woman goes to college, she gets a degree, she pursues her career, now she's in her mid-20s, and she's not married. She's had a series of very difficult relationships that ended poorly. She has a distrust of men. She practically in all real ways has been kind of divorced several times over. And she feels a longing and a desire for family. And she thinks that desire is somehow inferior to the career. She doesn't know what to do with it because it's deep and maternal and existential. And she doesn't know where to find a man because everybody on Twitter just wants to hook up. Culture has no answer There is nothing that culture can do that can suddenly say, hey, this is where you find a husband. These are where you find normative relationship roles within marriage. This is how to have a healthy marriage. Because for most of us, Gen Zers, I'm Gen X, but for most of us in the last, 30 plus years, we've just watched divorce as the norm in solving relationship dysfunction. We don't know how to press through and engage what's difficult and hard. And so, like, if someone were to ask me, where do you, solve and erase all this? There's only one place. It's the Orthodox Church. You have to plug into a completely different mindset, a completely different society, a different way of life, one that is difficult, ascetical, fasting, prayer, long services, but one that is real and tangible. You stand in church, you're in the presence of God, you soak in the incense, the smells, you look at the icons look back at you, they penetrate you. You develop your relationship with your spiritual father, somebody who knows you intimately, somebody you can open your soul up to, somebody who can speak into your life. You develop normative relationships with the people in your parish where you realize you have a community and a community that never existed before in your life because culture doesn't offer community. Everything is divorced and through the internet and not real and not face-to-face and not interpersonal. And all of this is an immersion in a different society. And so it is when I see people, whether they're Gen Z through Gen X and everything in between, and they're struggling and they're trying to figure out where they belong in the world because the world is so detached from reality. It's so based on the internet. It's so extrapolated from human experience. I'm always like, you've got to go to the Orthodox Church. It is a society within society. It is a home, and I will say it is a family. Because it's people who are knit together with a common bond and purpose, and a common fatherhood, and a common mother. In all of these ways, it creates this bond of family that we know where we're going, we know what we're doing, we have norms and expectations, we have culture, we have standards, and all of these things, it begins to basically take a person back from the brink of nihilism, nothingness, the void of the internet, which is soul destroying, and brings them into reality and into the light of Christ.
I love it. I think he has such a. I gotta whatever he's preaching at. This brother name is Father Moses, so I'm gonna tag his channel in the description as well as the link to this video. I think it was great. I do think we're in a spiritual battle. I think that a lot of things that happen in this world right now is a question of what are our beliefs, what is our faith. And in America, unfortunately, religion has died, right? We're all atheists now. We're all agnostic. And because of that, we're kind of like soulless monkeys, right? We have this focus on evolution and we're nothing more than evolved chimps. And if you look at life that way, we have no purpose. We have no reason of being here. But I don't believe that. I believe we have a purpose. I believe I'm making this video for a purpose. I believe that it's my purpose to create videos, create content, and to review these ideas and start the discussion. I honestly believe so. I think that's why I'm good at it. And I fought it for a while, and it wasn't until I found that, all right, this is the path I need to go, that everything made sense. It became clear to me. But that's a spiritual belief, that there even is a destination for you and a journey for you, right? That you're not just a soulless monkey, that likes pleasure and is obsessed with, like you said, fantasy. And, I don't feel like I benefited from the habits and the beliefs of our secular culture. I don't think that, when we have all this casual segs, when corn has ruined our brain as far as what we view as pleasure, it has really disoriented our view of intimacy. yeah, I don't think I benefited from it. I think I'm suffering from it. I think, if anything, that it gave me certain addictions and proclivities that made me sort out the worst of myself. And now, I could tell you right now, I'd much rather be doing this than be engaging in that activity. For real. Honestly. And so, I think we need Jesus. I really do. I think we need a spiritual awakening. And it seems like our society is heading for a great reset. That all this is getting turned on its head because we have reached a breaking point. And now it is going to be time for us to repent. Or else. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. And I hope everyone is growing and learning from conversations like people like Father Moses. And to see that, you know what? Society really did fail us. Right? We learned a bunch of stuff in school we don't need to know. And the things we do need to know, we have no idea how to do. Right? We need to know how to talk to people. We need to know how to get along. Like people say, do taxes or have financial literacy. I mean, there's so much more that we have not learned that we can learn. And I've been finding out recently in the Bible, there is a lot of information about money and wealth. And a lot of people are unaware of that. But that's the video. I hope you like it. Subscribe to this video. Like this video. Check out some of my other videos. And I'll see you over there.